Well, Trump came out and made his special announcement today at 9 a.m. Eastern, and he teased this last night. It was pretty cryptic, as saying something big just happened, but he wouldn't tell us what. My first thought was, maybe it had something to do with the China trade deal, which of course at this point has just the Chinese going back to buying more pork, or rather, the amount of pork that they bought before the trade war started, but that's unrelated because that wasn't what it ended up being. And then I started poking around Twitter a bit last night, and people were saying that, what he was going to announce is that Baghdadi had been killed in Idlib. And of course, Baghdadi is Abu Bakr Al Baghdadi, the former Caliph of ISIS. The Caliph is sort of a political religious title. Think of it as a combination of the Pope and Caesar. But of course, ISIS is sort of long gone. Their time as CIA puppets lasted a few years, but then I guess they got a little too big for their britches. They went into Western Iraq, and the U.S. decided to clean them up with the help of the YPG, and that was kind of the end of them. And we haven't really heard much about them since because it doesn't exist anymore. All ISIS was a bunch of, former Al-Qaeda guys anyway that changed their name. There's been so many splits within Al-Qaeda and all these different groups that aren't called Al-Qaeda anymore but are the same guys. And of course, Baghdadi ended up in Idlib because that's where all of the Sunni jihadists ended up. That is the last redoubt of this failed Syrian revolution against Bashar Assad. Baghdadi was one of the remaining leaders of the so-called moderate rebels that we were all supposed to support in overthrowing Assad a few years back. You might remember that John McCain went to visit the leaders of the moderate rebels, al-Baghdadi included, in Syria quite a few years ago. And I guess if it turns out that Baghdadi is dead now, I guess he'll be joining John McCain in hell, and hopefully they will be able to keep each other company, maybe play ping pong or something. There's a picture going around now of Trump and Pence and some generals and people sitting around a table in the Situation Room watching a big screen TV or a projector probably, and watching as this raid happened and seeing Baghdadi killed. It's very reminiscent of Obama's picture that he circulated with him and Hillary Clinton sitting in the Situation Room on the night that Bin Laden was claimed to have been killed. And so Trump here is very clearly trying to replicate that whole situation, like Obama had, to where he was able to hold this up and say, I believe the line that Joe Biden used to say was, Osama Bin Laden is dead and General Motors is alive. And that was their big rallying cry at the rallies. Trump now is, going to probably use this Baghdadi thing and to say that, hey, I defeated ISIS and blah, blah, blah. Trump was sounding very triumphant and sort of, I guess, giddy when he described how, Baghdadi got down on his knees and he cried like a dog and he said, please don't kill me, and then they killed him anyway. You know why? Because we're the good guys. That's why. And then everyone's supposed to cheer and go, yeah, we got him, even though, at this point, Baghdadi is, he's nothing compared to Bin Laden in the eyes of the American people. The average American knew who Osama Bin Laden was. The average American has no idea who Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is. So I don't know how well of a sort of a propaganda win this will be for Trump for his re-election. And of course, what little I guess euphoria there might be I think will be short-lived, because this guy really didn't affect the lives of Americans. He had much more of an effect, for the time that he was, in power to some extent. He had much more of an impact on Syria and Iraq. Now, a lot of people on the left are very upset because apparently Trump said that he did not run this operation by, Speaker Nancy Pelosi before it happened. And they're saying, well, that means that he doesn't trust her. And how could he not trust Pelosi? And all this nonsense about how, oh, well, she was on the Intelligence Committee for so long. That means that she's trustworthy. No, it means that she's a CIA, puppet, essentially, which, most in Congress are anyway, 95% of them. But they're all upset about how Trump slighted Pelosi and didn't invite her in to, watch the show or something like that. I mean, this is things that don't matter. Trump might have done it for petty reasons, but you're just as petty, for getting upset about it. Another example of a news cycle where the media focuses on something that has absolutely zero impact on the lives of ordinary Americans. Now, of course, they're doubly mad because apparently Trump says that he did, before going ahead with his operation, talk to Putin. And of course, they are saying, well, that's evidence of more Russia collusion. He colluded with Putin to, I guess, kill terrorists or something is the accusation. Now, when you bring Putin in, though, that's when this story gets very interesting because Trump came out and said, hey, yeah, we talked about Russia helped with this and the Kurds helped and everyone else, or actually, did he say the Kurds? I can't remember exactly. I might be getting things mixed up. But anyway, he said Russia helped with this. They were, in that they were cooperative. They were happy to let us do it, and we got the bad guy. And the Russian Ministry of Defense came out and said, we have no idea what you're talking about. We have no knowledge of the Americans conducting any raids in Idlib. They didn't talk to us about it if they did. And, we have no intelligence suggesting that Abu Bakr Al Baghdadi is dead. We just so we don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Trump. And so that, to me, seems to be the real story. That Trump claims that, oh yeah, we conducted this big raid in Idlib and everybody was in on it and it was a great thing and everyone's happy now, and one of the people or groups of people that was supposedly involved in this says it never happened. And of course, when it comes to refuting that, Trump supposedly does have the evidence. He claims that he was watching the raid live, meaning that they have video of this raid, and that he saw al-Baghdadi crouching down and crying like a dog. Well, in that case, then Trump could certainly, refute what the Russians have said, and by releasing that video and showing everyone video of Baghdadi being killed. But I'd have to imagine, considering that after Osama Bin Laden was killed, that we didn't get any video of that. That the same will probably be the case here. Now, we also, in Bin Laden's case, have no evidence other than sort of the word of Navy SEALs who were there, who claimed to have participated in the raid, and the word of the government that Bin Laden was actually killed, because we have no body. They decided to dump his body in the ocean. Once they took it with them, put it on the helicopter, went back to an aircraft carrier, and then threw his body overboard, which seems absolutely absurd to me. Why would you do that? I mean, you have the body of the most wanted man in America in certainly decades, and you just throw him overboard. You're not going to bring the body back to prove to the country that, hey, look, he's dead. We've got his body. Let's parade it around. I mean, you're not going to at least put his head on a pike? Keep it as a trophy? And so that whole situation was very suspicious. Does it really matter if Bin Laden is dead or not? Because he's not around. So I mean, he may as well be dead. We haven't seen him. But I mean, it is still very odd that they would erase all the evidence of him being killed and not release the video or anything like that. And so I'd have to imagine the same is going to be the case here with Baghdadi. That if they have any evidence of him being dead, they're not going to share it. Now, of course, they've already told us that there's no body, just like in the case of Bin Laden. No, his body's already gone. Supposedly he blew himself up or something. Yeah, that's fine. Where's the video? If you want to make these big, broad propaganda claims that are, good for your bottom line and make you look good, back it up. We wouldn't accept this kind of evidence in a court of law. Oh, well, the President of the United States says I'm innocent, so that means that you have to let me go. Now, that's a bad analogy because the president could pardon someone and then you have to let them go. But just the president saying that someone is innocent or guilty doesn't make them innocent or guilty in a court of law. We have standards of evidence in this country. And so if Trump claims, hey, we killed this guy, you're going to need some proof of that, because a court could not convict him of killing, or the Delta Force, I think it was, involved in the Baghdadi raid. They couldn't convict anyone from Delta Force of this if they don't have evidence. But in the end, just like with Bin Laden, I don't think it really matters much either way, whether Baghdadi's dead or not, because he's effectively dead and that he's been powerless for, a long time now. He doesn't really have much influence, and Idlib was going to fall eventually anyway, and then he would have lost whatever influence he still has left. But my guess is that he was probably just someone's house guest in Idlib. I don't know if he's on good terms with Zawahiri anymore, but I'm sure that some of the other Salafis in Idlib would have welcomed him with open arms. So that's my take on the alleged killing of Abu Bakr Al Baghdadi. If you gained anything of value out of this video, I'd appreciate you clicking that like button and sharing this video. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe because I do upload every day and I'd hate to have you miss one. So I'll see you folks back here tomorrow.